There's Resident Evil 9, man. The game has an insane look, right? Well, and it has artificial intelligence and Unreal Engine. If we put all of this together into one thing, I think it's going to be something really cool. I've been talking here about artificial intelligence in general, how to use it to create animations, to create environments, various things. It's even something I talk about in my course. And I want to test and show you an AI here, which is at least one of the best we have and the most accessible, which is Meshy.ai, man. The amount of things in there is just awesome. Just to get ahead, what did I do? They have a possibility that's really cool, where you take several images that you have. So I took this hallway from Resident Evil and I thought, man, cool to try and recreate it there, right? It won't be exactly as it is, but just to have some inspiration. I took the items and separated them item by item there. So, there's the curtain, there's the wall, and so on. I generated this with artificial intelligence. I asked ChatGPT, it generated the images with a white background, nice and clean. And now they have a feature that I think is really cool on Meshy.ai, where I can put in several images to generate, man. So look at this. You take all those images you generated, you just throw all the images in there. And it's going to generate 3D item by 3D item. And the coolest part is that within this tool on their website, after you generate an item, you generate the texture. And you can also, you can change the topology. So it does what we call a remesh. And another thing that's sensational is that afterwards you take these items, you can download them after generating the texture, import them into Unreal Engine. Just by dragging, it already generates the material nicely for you. So that's what I'm going to work on here now. Remember, okay? If you want to access Meshy.ai, it's here in the description and in the pinned comment. In fact, it's the tool that I use, that I show the most among others, okay? That I show in all, it's more for creating 3D items. Meshy.ai that I use in my course, which already has hundreds of students, has a WhatsApp group anyway. It's all here in the description and in the pinned comment. Well, what I'm gonna do now, then, I already have Unreal open here. I've already imported all the 3D items here. They're all here in the scene. I even have a slightly lower visualization, and now I've also put it here. And then two little lights, 2 light points here and there. And I'm going to toggle here between this visualization so I can have the scene which is even in a lower resolution. Here, just to get an idea, for us to see if we can get a look or something like that. But the big proposal here for you is when you already have a clear idea, you've already generated the items there, which was fast. Man, you separate them in the prompts. It was fast. If you had to do all of this by hand, it would be a lot of work. Okay, you can take this and create the scene that's in the image in your head. You can even create an image with whatever AI you want and recreate it. So that's the idea, to show you what can be done in this regard. Let's see then. Look, it won't be exactly the same as I said, right? But there are some separate windows here, separating the walls, and so on. I've already put it more or less here. Look, the way the scene is, but of course, it's a rough draft, right? So I basically followed a modular logic that has this, right? In game creation, you have the items and you increase them or decrease them and drag them. So if I hold Alt here with this floor selected, I can bring it further over here. And of course, there are several issues, right? For example, here the floor, maybe it'll be a little more separated than the other. And here, to avoid this flickering, which is Z fighting. Z, because this little blue one here is the Z axis, right? So there's a fight there to see which texture will be rendered. Look. And then you can just come here and lower it a little bit. And then it looks cool. It already has that fit that works well. And then you can duplicate this one more time. You can turn off this lighting visualization to make it a bit faster. Here you select. And you can invert one of the axes. Look at that. It might get a bit repetitive and all, then you just work normally. Okay, the hallway doesn't need to have the same depth, right? But if we put the character further over here, take out this cube, which doesn't make sense anymore, take the base wall, On this side here, I'll only have wall, right? Here I hold Alt and Shift, then the camera follows. I cover all these shortcuts in my course. There's a lesson just on shortcuts and navigation actually. It's a big hallway. This hollow window here will actually be the one that makes the curtain fly, you know, right? Here are some parts, look, larger parts of the ceiling. Enlarge this part a bit, this structure, it fits a little better. Cut a little piece of this object here, just for good measure. This little table here, this little stool here, we have a few options here. It'll be like this. If light doesn't leak, I'll duplicate this one. Go here, Control B, I'll duplicate this wall here. I duplicated the file, I'll replace the one that's there, go to modeling, and now I'll slice it. Keep it nice like this, see? Duplicated, all nice and neat. Now, what's the point here, right? The point is this thing here, look. The pedestal is right here in the spot where its movement is highlighted in the original scene, right? So it's very... Center this little thing here. Now, if I add the lighting, you'll see it won't look right. It'll look like nothing, right? But if I take these lights, these light points, and lower the intensity, then things look a bit better, right? And here, look, we have the material for this curtain, and I'm going to change this material. Well, and now I'll start working on the light here. More interesting and closer to what we saw there in the game. Besides the post-processing and all. And of course, I also worked on the cloth simulation, which is the physics simulation within Unreal Engine of the fabric itself, so that it would have a nice little ripple. But I saw it didn't look that cool. It was a bit stiff there, you know, after I set it to simulate physics. So I needed to work on it a bit more. I worked on the wind direction and I created a random oscillation that does the following. First, a stronger random oscillation that makes it blow a bit more forward and then it pulls back afterwards, and I basically give a higher speed to the wind and then I give it a lower speed. If you want to learn how to do cloth simulation, where is it? In my course in the environment creation module, among several other modules. And finally, I had to work on, of course, the lighting and also the post-processing to give it that look more like Resident Evil. I worked well on the lighting. I also narrowed the hallway a bit so that it would look more like the reference image. And I used decals, which are like stickers, to make those puddles and the details that are in the scene. I put them on the walls. And that brought much more life to the entire scene. With that, I achieved this result. Look how cool. And I have to share with you that it's surprising what can be done with artificial intelligence today, especially with this Meshy.ai tool. Man, it's really cool. Later you can make adjustments to the materials, make it more or less detailed, or I don't know, decrease the polygon count, increase it. It's up to you. Texture with much more speed and also prototype with much less of a headache. If I want to, now based on this, change the scenery, I can. I'm free to improve it in infinite ways, you know? So very quickly I prototyped, I created this scene. Of course I used Resident Evil as a reference, and it's really cool, man. Honestly, I'm shocked by the rapid pace at which things are evolving. But I'm having a lot of fun. I'm bringing it here to the channel for you. I hope you guys liked this video. Check out Meshy.ai in the description. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And if you want to learn how to use this tool, it's one of the tools I show in my course, which is in the description and the pinned comment. This is sensational. Man, this is one of the reasons I started using Unreal Engine and game creation, because it's so cool. To see a 3D model, the scene you created there, these details, like the curtain, you know? Amazing. Thank you so much for watching until the end. We'll see each other in the next video. A big hug. Bye-bye. I'm out.